welcome you all to our joint Women in Tech and KOPforce event. Yeah, so I'm Charlene. I'm the co-leader of KOPforce, and we have Barb Williams here, senior solutions architect. Yes.
Sure. So Kathy Chilcote, she's also a co-leader of Salesforce. And Kristen Caldwell, just right there. Thank you so much, KOPforce, because I don't know where we'd find a venue and pay for food. You're awesome.
Amazing.
I'm excited to talk about career development. So,
All right. Okay, so we've already kind of done the networking, food, and drink. We've done the introductions, and then we'll do some announcements. I'm going to talk for a little bit about a career development opportunity I kind of, in essence, kind of created for myself that I feel benefited me greatly, and I hope that it's benefited the people that have taken part in what I put together at my company. So it's kind of my giving back story a little bit, and then we're going to have some group discussion, so you're all going to have to talk. Like it or not. All right. So tonight's leader. So one thing I like to start off with, it's always nice to recognize if anyone's gotten a new job, certification, or you just did something super overall awesome. Anyone want to share?
Really? Nobody?
I got a role promotion, so
Awesome.
same company, but yeah.
So when did you go from this to that?
Basically, I was on technical side, architecture, that kind of thing. And that's split between that and supporting build quality, best practices, and also mentoring and coaching
Cool.
the build team.
Nice.
So,
That's great.
That's an awesome opportunity.
Yep.
Anybody?
Thank you.
Yes,
Okay.
our own Barb Williams got Keystone Awards.
It's an award from Toll Brothers. We have a set of company values, and if you demonstrate the company values, you can get nominated for this award. So third time was a charm, and I was really, really excited to get it. The award was developed a couple of years ago, and I was like, that is really a cool thing. I wonder if I can ever get that someday. So I was very happy to get it. It was a surprise, and it was just an awesome experience. So
I think it's a nice present. I don't know, don't tell me.
Chris, you had your hand up?
yeah, I got the sharing invincibility art.
Cool. Anybody else?
I just failed my PD1.
Well, you know what's on the test now, right? And
I went in cold, so
okay.
that's okay.
Yes, but a good learning experience. And that's,
Absolutely.
and I think that's also sometimes an approach to certification exams is, take it till you make it kind of thing.
Yep. It's okay to fail.
There you go. Absolutely.
And I think that's super appropriate coming in the Salesforce love section because we want to celebrate failures. It's not just
Yeah, it takes courage to take exams, right? It's not an easy thing to do. You put yourself out there kind of mentally and physically too, because I don't know, when I've taken my exams, I got stressed like crazy. So.
I learned it was free I was at Dreamforce. Didn't know it was a free cert.
Oh.
And I learned at about 8 o'clock on Wednesday night and took the exam 7 o'clock Thursday morning.
Why not?
So I didn't even open my laptop Wednesday night and went into the exam. But it was an absolute learning experience. I need to study Apex.
There you go.
So if anybody's doing PD1, they want a study buddy.
I got advanced admin. I was like stressed and I was like, I should get a certification, and I studied very aggressively and I passed like very, very well. I did not apply.
Good for you.
The stress was worth, the stress paid off.
Cool. Awesome. Well, congratulations to everybody. That's awesome. So anyone looking for a job? Anyone? you know.
Sorry. Yes.
Or anybody, are you hybrid? So anybody looking for a job, let us know. Okay, we got a hand up back there. What's up?
I'm new to the whole ecosystem. I had a job that unfortunately I was laid off in April. I just haven't been able to get one since. Yeah, it's hard. It's
And
rough
what are you
out
looking
there.
for?
It's rough. Initially, I was looking for in-house admin because I thought that's what I wanted to do, and that was my other job. Because I like learning the systems really well, so that when there's changes, I can quickly assess and I know my stuff. And the idea of moving around and not really know anything as deep as I like, I didn't think consulting, but given the experience I had where I was basically a junior admin, but I was responsible for everything. And we have an overseas developer, and I thought, okay, now I want to be surrounded by other people that are working on Salesforce and like where everybody knows that I'm new and I can do a lot, but like, let's go like this instead of just dropping me in the pool.
Right.
So
yeah.
I think,
Sink or swim kind of.
yeah. So I'd like to be part of a larger Salesforce team.
Mhm.
That's number one. Yeah. But it's rough out there because they say, you know, there's all these millions of jobs. So a bunch of us are getting into it. But the thing is that all those jobs, everyone's experience. So those of us that are new are all going for the same job. So when I apply, I'm like one of 800.
Wow.
Like, not kidding. It's
Yeah.
bad.
And it's kind of my giving back story. So I thought I would kind of start with what I think is a pretty approachable definition to career development. What I really like about this particular definition was that it mentions that career development is a progression of short-term steps taken to achieve long-term professional goals and involves the building of role-specific skill sets and includes taking night classes. That's also included. Definition, networking, seeking out a mentor and taking on new responsibilities in your current job. And one thing that I think also is really cool about this definition is I love the idea of networking. And I take that to mean exactly what we're doing tonight. We are here at this event. Some of you I've met numerous times. We're like old Salesforce friends. Some of you I work with or worked with. And others of you I've never met before. And anytime I've come to a Salesforce user group meeting, I've always learned something. So my colleague Natalia is here tonight. She's been working with Salesforce for a while, but she's new to really being a Salesforce nerd in the sense that her first Salesforce user group meeting. She's never So another person who's here tonight that helped me at one of my first Salesforce user group meetings is Christian Belko. Christian, I think we met at a co-working event with CRM Science when he worked for CRM Science. And I was there and I'm like, okay, I'm doing Salesforce, there's all these developers around me, what am I doing here? And I had a real world business problem. We had a business unit at the company that I was working at, and they wanted to start using Salesforce. And they needed to have their own type of opportunities in our system, which were different than ours. We sold very unsexy services like janitorial, snow plowing, things like that. And so we sold contracts for like 3 years at a time. This other business unit sold things a bit differently. So I think I brought this question kind of to Christian, and he said, well, I'm new. I don't know. So thankfully, I took Mr. Christian's advice, and we ended up using record types to bring on this other business unit. And that was like, for me, as a new admin at the time, it was something that, for me, I grew from that experience. It was one of those resume builders, like, I brought on this other business unit. It was all thanks to coming to a meeting and meeting Christian and talking about a real world business problem. And that's what I think we get from our networking at these events. I think it's one thing that's very unique. I'm sure you've all said this before and heard this before, that the Salesforce Ohana really is a very caring and sharing place. And I really, truly believe that. So I'm glad everyone is here tonight. So thank you for coming. So I had watched a Salesforce video of some, guy in the Trailblazer hoodie, and, he was out of work, and then he started learning Trailhead, and then he got his first job, and he had made a comment When you blaze a trail, you leave a trail. And as kind of corny as that sounds, it really stuck with me. And I kind of took that to heart in terms of what I wanted to kind of do next once I kind of heard about this. So as you're kind of leading the way, you know, you're doing things behind you, right? Where you can bring people with you. You're an example as you're moving ahead with creating your trail. Well, look at how she did it or he did it. How did they do it? Oh, they got into Salesforce by doing X, Y, and Z. And then they did these other things. So you're kind of creating this model. And as you talk with each other at events, how did you get into Salesforce? That was accidental. Nobody else wanted to handle Salesforce. And then I took some classes. And then I got received. We all have those stories. And it's all good for us to learn from each other. Well, how did you do it? How did, you know, that kind of thing. So one of the things that I did, how my kind of journey started, was I decided I wanted to give back by developing myself and other people. In this case, other people at my company. So at Toll, we had this, and I think we still do, it might be called something different. We had something called an individual development plan. And it was slightly a bit different from like, these are my annual goals, and you know, these are the things I'm going to do in 2023, you know, that kind of thing. This was kind of like, how are you going to develop yourself and wherever you want to go? Natalia and I both share the same boss, and she's one of the best bosses I've ever had because she's a non-boss boss. Because she's just there to support you wherever you want to go and gives you options for where you might want to go at our company or just skills you might want to develop. So I created an individual development plan in 2021. One of my main goals was I work in the project management office, so that's the PMO. So I'm going to support PMO team members' knowledge of Salesforce platform with training opportunities and events. So I initially proposed bi-weekly sessions to teach people kind of Salesforce. But management had some other plans about that. We announced this program through this Tech Talk article, and it kind of really, they said, Barb Williams bringing Salesforce Ohana to the Toll Brothers community. I was the first Salesforce Sales Cloud admin at Toll, so I felt like I was, you know, that person who first initiated a role on Broadway, kind of, what do they call that actor or actress? So I introduced myself and my path to becoming an admin and my involvement in Salesforce community, kind of setting up like, hey, this is how I did it. If you're interested, you could too. So these are some slides for my IDP. And this was kind of my strategic plan. And I was really mindful to use all the Salesforce, you know, the mascots, the branding, everything very Salesforce. So my goal was to become a technology advocate. Believe it or not, Natalia, I was supposed to be a technology advocate within PMO and Toll. And my 3 steps to get there: develop my personal brand. So remind everybody or introduce myself to people in IT. So at this kind of moment in time, there were a lot of things happening. First, the pandemic. We had a program manager that left the company and was very instrumental in starting our Salesforce program at Toll, and she had left. So we were a bit kind of not rudderless, but kind of headless for a little while. So I had been not part of PMO, but a different part of IT. So some people might not have known who I was. So this was this opportunity to develop my personal brand and introduce people. And then I was going to lead Salesforce education efforts for PMO by doing something called Trailhead Fridays. And then the other thing was also to possibly create an ERG, an employee resource group, and champion women across Toll with a WIT, Women in Toll, Tech at Toll, stealing completely from all of the tech sales. So we'll see if I succeeded. So the developing my personal brand, I laid out these are my steps on how I'm going to do that. I also highlighted my being a co-leader of the Philly Women in Tech group. That really resonated with my boss. She was like, oh my gosh, you do all these things. This is great. So anyways, this is kind of what I did. Then I had a step 2. How am I going to lead the education efforts? So I already do Salesforce release readiness sessions. And then I was thinking of doing Trailhead Fridays, and then I was going to position myself too as someone that could onboard our consultants and new PMO team members. And then lastly, I'm going to try to champion women in technology across the globe. I have this wonderful employee resource group and et cetera, et cetera. That went about this far. So it was, we already had a women's group at Toll. And so the thought was maybe this could be like a part of maybe like the appendage to the women's group, but it didn't transpire. So, oh well. So also as part of my strategy here was, you know, personally, I'm thinking to myself, I'm developing myself by putting together an educational curriculum. If you're going to teach something, you really have to know it, right? So I was going to, you know, create these sessions kind of from scratch, but use some models. We'll get to that. But I also needed, since I'm pitching this, I'm saying I'm going to do this thing, and I need you to allow me to have time away from work, meaning I'm going to offer these sessions twice a week, once a week, whatever it was, that I'm going to take other people's time too. And is that okay? So I needed management's buy-in to be able to, you know, spend my time developing the program and offering the actual sessions. So I had to then put in what are the benefits to the company. So technology advocate within PMO, increased number of Salesforce resources within PMO to allow PMO to better meet resource needs, because we're constantly kind of growing. Everybody wants to put everything in Salesforce, right? Everybody wants to integrate this, that, and the other thing with Salesforce. And so do we have a team of people with PMO, enough people besides the few of us who are Salesforce certified or been on the team for a while, you know, how can we skill up other people as well? And then elevate the Salesforce solution and recognition within Toll, and then elevate the brand outside of Toll. Here I am. Elevate our brand, build luxury homes. They're really pretty, really expensive, but
She doesn't lie.
So just to let you know, what is a typical Trailhead at Toll session? So this is an example of a session agenda. This is really my beginning agenda. When people first come to me, we go, what the heck is the Salesforce thing anyways? We take a look at the platform, all the different offerings, Marketing Cloud, Pardot, things like that. The whole idea of Salesforce Ohana, what are we? I think we're super integral to being part of the Salesforce. You know, when you're working in Salesforce, you're really doing this with a community that can support you. So I try to make that clear that that is an integral part, because you can really benefit from being part of it and giving to it too, right? I mean, it's not just you get from it, you give to it as well. And then, okay, they need to use Trailheads. They have to sign up for a Trailhead account because I will assign them homework. So we do some of the homework topics we did were, you know, getting comfortable with Trailhead, Salesforce interface, standard and custom object. We're starting right at the beginning, you know, really right in the beginning. And the focus too of my sessions is not, hey, this is how Toll is using Salesforce. This is what Salesforce is. And eventually we will get to a point where we talk about how Toll is using Salesforce. Sometimes I'll refer to some customizations that we have in our system, but this is about them learning Salesforce, not them learning Toll Salesforce, because they may want to leave the company and go do Salesforce somewhere else, or they just want to know about Salesforce in general. I've had people now go through the program, been going on for a little while, who work out a solution that is based on Force.com or Salesforce, but it doesn't use leads and opportunities and contacts and accounts, but they need to know kind of the basic object structure and how, you know, Salesforce kind of works. So these are the things that we cover. And this is just an example of a trail mix. So I assign a trail mix that is covering the topics that we've had in the class. So we also do a knowledge check. So you can do a little knowledge check. Okay, wake up your brains. Activities is a standard Salesforce object, true or false?
True.
Hey, awesome. You get 100%. All these great. Related to more than one account, true or false?
No. Yes.
What organizes a set of records into columns to track your work activities? Salesforce definition of this.
Kanban, right?
List
Everything.
view?
Kanban.
Kanban?
Who actually used things? I swear. Was talking with someone, it's like, no, I haven't seen it used in 2 years
Yeah.
We use it,
in
Wow.
Salesforce.
yeah.
I
I
think
think they
it's
use
good.
more on custom
I'm all
stuff.
about-
We use them for
rather than
ops.
Out of the box stuff.
Ops, yeah.
Yeah, we
Ops I
use them
can
for
see.
ops.
Yeah, everything else, there's too many records. Like,
Yeah, we run into that.
Customized to some degree too, some of what it displays, and it's super helpful. Yeah.
So I don't have to keep that in.
Thought it was gonna take over the world, really.
They thought so too. Like, it's cool thing.
Split view is
Well, we're
actually more
professionals,
useful
this
than
is
Canvas. I have a lot of customers using split view.
Yeah, we use one.
Oh, if a record on a master object is deleted, what happens to all of its related detailed records? God forbid someone does this.
Yeah, that's why you have own backup.
Principle of least privilege.
It's cascade delete.
Yep, they're deleted, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what it's known as, a cascade delete. You didn't think you were gonna have the Salesforce codes, right?
I mean, I second guess myself because the lookup, there's a way to prevent
delete.
delete through a lookup.
Yeah.
Some checkbox to do that, so.
You're, yeah.
Oh, geez.
All right, so that's what we do. I try to check their knowledge, you know, have they done the homework? And of course, what do I get? I have to do the homework. And I've written, and I honestly, I don't give anybody a hard time if they don't, you know. I love it when they say, well, I tried and I ran out of time and this and that. And they're like, it's so funny because everybody's like, so. So anyways, at the end of the day, I think it's really important to assist others with their career development. So like I said, this was a way that I feel like I have, you know, grown my career in that I have been able to learn the Salesforce concepts more, so I'm better at them and understanding them to be able to teach something, right? You really need to know what. So anyways, assisting others with their career development. I've enhanced the program. So the first year was great. Got a bunch of participants and they're like, okay, what are we gonna do next year? So we came up with advanced topics. I take a lot of, you know, feedback from my attendees. So we had advanced topics in the second year. We covered flow, we covered integrations and things like that. And because I'm not an integration expert, I invited other IT department employees to present on things like integrations or a Force.com solutions. Anyone who works with a Force.com solution and you're really, really used to Sales Cloud, you're like, oh my God, who moved my sheets? This is so different. What happened to the account? Or whatever, you know, things like, where are the opportunities? So brought in other IT department employees. So what I take away from that, and my purpose of doing that too, was to give them the opportunity to go, oh, Barb asked me to talk about integration. I got to think about that. How am I going to present that in an understandable, approachable way when I'm in the weeds and I need to, you know, be able to put something together that somebody like me who doesn't know a ton about integrations, you know, can follow that and get a good sense of that. So we had a couple of people do that. So after 2 years, finally some success, we had 2 participants receive Salesforce certifications, and that was awesome. That like made my day many times over. I'm still smiling about it because that's really, it wasn't necessarily the goal, but I really appreciated that they stuck with the program. One in particular was like the star student. He did all the trailheads, all of the things, you know, and good on him because he's now supporting, he's a developer and he's supporting a transition project and he's provisioning users for a Force.com solution. So it really, I think, gave him the confidence to then, yeah, I'll raise my hand. I'll help out with that. And I think that's really important to support that in other people. So it was like, as my boss said, I provided a runway for him, or my efforts did. My efforts, the program did. I think that's great. It's like, again, we're back to blazing a trail, leaving a trail, and giving back. I think is really important. So my inspiration for the program was certainly Gemma Blezer. I think some of you may know Gemma or know her from, you know, Twitter or now X. This wonderful lady during lockdown created a like learn Salesforce with Gemma. And she provided a really good roadmap for me. I kind of stole some of her how to get started in teaching these concepts and went in a few other directions. Steal everything. I went in another direction. I watched some of her videos with folks. I know that through her program, she's got a number of people certified. And then how I got involved with Salesforce back in the day was I was super lucky to take a free, but 16-week certification course that was created by this lady. And she no longer does this course, but this was like the best learning experience ever. You were committed to sign up and commit to take scheduling for the admin exam within so many weeks of the course finishing. And you were basically every week, okay, do these things. And as you were doing the things, you were building a full-fledged workable solution. And that was great. And we covered topics that weren't even on the admin exam. And it's a shame that that doesn't exist anymore, because it really was a great experience. You know, show your work, you know, Nicole, right? You know, should I use record types here? I don't know. And then there you were really, you know, kind of learning and teaching yourself. But it was great to have that support. And one thing that I learned, I'm not a developer by any training whatsoever. I took a couple of degrees in psychology, but trust me, I'm no IT person necessarily. And it was so cool to see, well, Kristen thinks differently than Natalia than I do. And to solve, you know, with Salesforce, you have one problem and you have 20 ways to solve it. And so to see how other people think in terms of solving problems is really cool. And of course, thank you, Christian. You're part of the Trailblazer community, one of my heroes, and then other group leaders too. And really all of us, we all learn from each other. So you all my inspiration. So let's see. If you can see it, I'm sorry, but I would say it's really important to celebrate the career progression of yourself and others. I'm sorry you can hardly see this, but this is when his name is Young, and Young finished the whole course. So the course sets you up in the first year to attain multi-year status, which is like 14,000 points on Trailhead. So he finished it, and so celebrated him on our, you know, our team's channel. And then one thing that for me, and not toot my own horn, but I think it's really cute, I often get team member kudos, and unfortunately they keep calling them Trailblazer sessions, they're Trailhead sessions, but I'll take it. And that's been great. And the more that at least my name is out there, and then, hey, she does the Salesforce thing, hey, sign up. You know, there's an opportunity for you to learn something different. Because I mean, a lot of the people, and I think any company, you've been doing your thing for so long, and the opportunity to learn something new for free, I don't charge, right? Is, you know, kind of a unique experience. And I always get a fair amount of people, and then say, I can't do it, Barb. I get so much going on, and see that again. So I get it. We'll see. So I'm definitely going to try to offer it next year and bring my year ones to, you know, do advanced topics. So I've done tons of talking. It's now time for the group to talk. So these are some of the the group discussion topics we have. So how do we want to do this, Kathy? Do we want to break into groups and compete? Or do we want to, you know?
I think we can break into groups.
Okay.
You can like
Just half the room.